Mao brought the Communist Party into power, like Lenin brought the CPSU into power in Soviet Union, like Fidel Castro, like Kim Il Sung in North Korea, like Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. No such big, contribution by Xi Jinping.
At the 20th Party Congress, Xi Jinping is all set to be elected for the third 5 year term as General Secretary of the Communist Party of China. If that happens, he could become the longest serving dominant leader to hold office since Mao Zedong. The 2 term limit was abolished in 2018. In the party congress, Xi's successor would not be announced. In fact, no one has been groomed to succeed him. Most analysts believe he will continue for life.
Most leaders say that without me, the country will be in doldrums. So um, he had mentioned that he wants to continue for the projects that he had made explicit in the last Congress. So, in the 19th Communist Party Congress in 2017, he mentioned that he wants to convert China into a socialist modernized country by 2049. So that is the reason why there is the third term or fourth term or fifth term or nth term that is mentioned in this. Um, but as I mentioned before, there is a Deng Xiaoping's norm for 2 terms and 68 years. He's already 69. So technically, he cannot be the general secretary, but he had invoked some long-term projects. For example, China Dream, China Rejuvenation. China Dream means that he wants to regain all the lost territories. And the lost territories also include Galwan and Taiwan. That is the reason why you have the problems with India. So it includes South China Sea, Senkaku Islands, it includes Taiwan and other areas.
Xi Jinping currently holds 3 top positions. His real source of power is his role as General Secretary. The title of President is ceremonial and makes him head of state. And as head of the military commission, he controls China's armed forces. After getting the third term, will Xi Jinping become more assertive in domestic politics and foreign policy moves?
The assertiveness has a few elements. One is nationalism, which we discussed. Second is the China Dream, China Rejuvenation. The third is heavy centralization. During Chiang Zemin's time, Hu Jintao's time, there was a reform program, and that led to decentralization. That also led to fragmentation of power because every billionaire would also acquire a lot of power. And so there is a decentralization. What Xi Jinping did was to centralize, and he removed many of these in the anti corruption drive. Although there is a report in the Bloomberg News that Xi Jinping's sister was involved in $800 million corruption scandal, she was not arrested. Likewise, Premier Wen Jiabao was accused of also several corruption scandals, and his wife is a jade collector, jade stone collector, and quite famous at that. And the New York Times published several reports on corruption at those levels. None of them were put in jail or anything, but other factional leaders' corruption was highlighted, and so Xi Jinping decimated the other political factions um, in reducing their influence, and he centralized the whole mechanism. In the 100th anniversary of the Communist Party last July, he said that we will recover Taiwan. And he said anyone who is helping to divide Taiwan from China, he said, हम उसका सर फोड़ देंगे. He used the same words in Nepal after the Chennai Connect in October 2019 when he went to Kathmandu. And he used the same, he said, we will break the heads. हिंदी में और भी जोर लगता है उससे सर तोड़ देंगे. So he actually used these words. Generally, statesmen don't use these words. Street side language. But he used these on a solemn occasion of the 100th anniversary of the Communist Party. First, in terms of personnel. So those aspirants who want to be the sixth generation leaders, there is nobody now. He had marginalized many of those leaders, specifically Hu Chunhua. Hu Chunhua was supposed to be the leader in the last party congress. And Xi Jinping's proposed another candidate who could not make it, Chen Min'er. So there was a tussle between Hu Chunhua and Chen Min'er, and he was not able to make it. So he did not become the sixth generation leader. So many leaders within the Communist Party are not happy with him because even though he is 69 years now, he has not given a chance for the younger leaders. Mao Zedong contribution is he brought Communist Party into power. Xi Jinping did not bring the Communist Party to power. Xi Jinping continued with power that he had controlled. There is not much new that Xi Jinping did in the last 10 years. Well, this is a very strong comment, but the supporters of Xi Jinping would say he brought in too many new things. But when you look at holistically, Xi Jinping is based on the old laurels, the previous leaders' contribution. China had risen during Jiang Zemin's time, high GDP growth rates and all that. During Xi Jinping, actually the growth rates have fallen. They have not increased, they have fallen actually. From 14% growth rate in 90s during Jiang Zemin's time, these are now 2.3% this year. So there is a huge fall in growth rates under Xi Jinping. Likewise in other parameters. So we can say that Mao brought the Communist Party into power, like Lenin brought the CPSU into power in Soviet Union, like Fidel Castro, like Kim Il-sung in North Korea, like Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. No such big contribution by Xi Jinping when you compare with Mao. Because you mentioned Mao, I'm mentioning this. The second major contribution of Mao was the Cultural Revolution. This is what he stated in an interview with Edgar Snow in the Red Star over China. Xi Jinping has no major contribution except anti corruption drive.
Invoking nationalism in China and taking hawkish positions over Hong Kong, Xinjiang, and Taiwan, Xi Jinping has taken a vastly different approach than other post Mao leaders. During Xi Jinping's third term, one can likely expect further Chinese expansion globally. Times Online Report.